October 29th, 2023 was literally the fork in the road for me, right? That was the day that I had to make the decision to either change my life or literally everything that I had worked for thus far was going to crumble to the ground. I'm making this video to share my experience of my third eye being activated with pictures to show you this. October 29th of 2023 is the night that my ex-husband and I separated. It was a very traumatic experience, and that was the night that I knew if I didn't make a change, everything that I had worked for in my life thus far, my career, my home, everything that I had worked for was on the verge of being lost. I won't go into detail about the actual event that occurred, but it was very traumatic and it was the turning point. That's when I decided, like, everything that I was doing, I mean, because it's not like I was out there bad, but, you know, there was definitely some things that needed to be cleaned up, okay? And that was the turning point, like I said. So I'm making this video today on December the 26th. Yesterday, December the 25th, is when everything came full circle. Yesterday is when my spirit guides revealed to me the timeline of events and why those events occurred that way and why they have physical evidence to show my progress so I can share it with others to be motivational, to help in some type of way. I know without a shadow of a doubt that the reason I have the photos from these specific time frames in my life leading up until now is so I can share it, and that's what I'm doing. So I would say February of 2024 is when, which is my birthday. My birthday is February the 14th. So I would say February of 2024 is when my spiritual journey actually began. That's when I went into hermit mode. Like, that's when I pulled back completely. Because even though I had separated from my ex-husband in October of 23, I still was going out a little bit, and, you know, I was thinking that was, you know, what was going to help me to take my mind off of all of the crazy stuff that was going on. But February of 2024 is when it was like, yeah, no, that's not it. We have to do a complete 360, right? So February of 2024 is when my spiritual journey began, okay? I went into hermit mode. Like, I just pulled all the way back from everybody, friends, family. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't have anybody who was really a shoulder to lean on, if I'm being completely honest. It was me and it was my son. I have a 22-year-old son. And it was us. I really didn't have anybody. I mean, the event that I went through with my ex-husband was very, very traumatic. And if I had ever needed anybody, that was the time that I needed them, and I didn't have them. So I really didn't have a choice but to go into hermit mode, if I'm being completely honest, because there was no one there. Not in the way that I needed, okay? No one who would come to the house and check on me. Nobody who would really call to see how I was doing, or because it was a very difficult time. I mean, I was going to court, and I was dealing with police, and I was very, very afraid for my life. It was a very difficult time, and I didn't have anybody there for me. And that hurt, not to mention everything else I was going through. So I didn't really have a choice but to go into hermit mode, y'all. I had no choice but to call upon my spiritual team. I've always believed in a higher power, always. All my life, I grew up in church, which I no longer consider myself like in religion. I'm spiritual now, but I've always grown up in church. So I've always believed in God. I've always believed in a higher power. But baby, when I tell you that this time in my life, back around, February, the beginning of the year in 2024 is when I really was like, okay, it's just us. Crickets. It's just us. There was nobody else besides me and my spiritual team. Now, don't get me wrong. My son, like I say, my son was here and he was as supportive as he could be. But at that time, he was what? He's a young man. He's a young man. So he did what he could. But when I mean, it was just me and my spiritual team. That's what it was. And that's when I began to, YouTube has been life-changing for me, because I began to run across different videos that began to feed my spirit and nurture my spirit. And I began to learn so much. And by nature, I am an investigator. I love, like, if you give me something to find out, some information to study, or if it's something that I'm interested in, baby, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. And so the more I learned, the more I uncovered, the deeper that I dug. And it was life-changing. It has been life-changing for me, and I'm so grateful. But trying to stay on track here, because y'all, I really don't have a specific outline for this video. I know that it's meant to be shared, and I'm just going to do it. I do have some dates here, because I am going to include some photos in this video, because I want you guys to see what I see, what I discovered last night. My third eye is now fully activated. And my spiritual team allowed me to have proof to show others the process of that activation. And I'm going to show you. The first video that I want to show, not the first video, but the first picture that I want to show you, this picture is back on May 6th of 2022. Okay? May 6th of 2022. This is back when my son went to prom. I'm going to insert the picture somewhere here. But this is when my son went to prom. As you can see, I look completely different. But I want to show you that my third eye, I now have a birthmark, a mole, whatever you want to call it. I have one here on my third eye, directly on my third eye. And if you can see in this photo, you can't, it's not visible. Was it there? My spirit tells me, yes, it was there. It just wasn't activated. So again, this was May 6th of 2022, okay? This is when I was still married. I was going through a lot. My marriage was going down the drain. I was still partying. I was still drinking. I was still doing, I was not going down the path that my soul needed to be going down, okay? So you can't see my third eye activation. You can't see that on that photo, because I wasn't on my soul's journey, okay? I wasn't fulfilling my soul's purpose. Moving right along, this next picture that I want to show you is October 10th of 2023. Now, remember I told you that this traumatic event occurred October the 29th. So this was right before this incident occurred with me and my ex-husband. Right before, I was on a work trip on this photo. We had went to St. Louis for a work trip. And if you can see, my third eye had opened. Unbeknownst to me, I had no idea what was forthcoming. But in 19 days from the date of this photo, my life would change forever. My third eye had been opened. It wasn't activated, but it had opened. Take a look at this photo. That was October the 10th of 2023. The incident occurred October the 29th of 2023. So my spiritual team, the universe, they had already started preparing me for what was forthcoming. Okay? Now, we do know that I definitely had a choice to not go down the path of healing and to continue the lifestyle that I was living. If that would have happened, then my third eye wouldn't have been activated. But that was them saying, by them I mean my spiritual team, and the universe said, hey, we gonna open it for you. Now it's up to you to activate it though. This next picture that I'm going to show you all is December the 30th of 2023. Okay, so this is after my separation. I was still married, but I was separated. December 30th of 2023. This is when me and my son went to Chicago Bulls basketball game. So this is when, even though I said I would consider my healing to begin February 2024, I was still on my, I was leaving behind everything that I had, all the partying, the going out and all of that stuff was being left behind at this point. Like I was starting my journey. So this was December 30th of 2023. And as you can see in this photo, my third eye activation, it's beginning. It's beginning, right? Now, this next picture that I want to show you is on May the 2nd of 2024. May the 2nd of 2024. This is the day that I had to go to a court date for my ex-husband. And if you can see, my third eye activation is getting stronger and stronger. Now, I was fully into my journey at this point. I had literally stopped, hanging with certain people, talking with certain people. I was still going through a very difficult time in my life, but I was determined to heal. I was in it at that point, okay? And this last picture that I want to show you was just recently. It was just December the 19th of 2025. Take a look at my third eye and the activation of it. My point is, I wanted to show that this journey is real. This journey is real. This journey is not easy, but it's real. And if you put forth the effort, you will reap the benefits, y'all. Did I have doubts? Yeah. Did I have times where it's like, oh my God, what is this even, what am I doing? Is it even worth it? Yes. But I can honestly say from the depths of my soul that there was not one time throughout my journey that I wanted to go back to the way that I was living, because I knew that the way that I was living thus far had gotten me to the night of October the 29th of 2023. And that wasn't me. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I came here for. And I knew that. I knew that. The journey is real. And I am sitting right here to show somebody how real it is. You can see the activation. The more that I worked on myself, the more that I worked on my healing. And baby, I'm still working on my healing now. But the more that I worked on myself, the more that I worked on, leaning on my spiritual team and just trusting the unknown and having faith, the more my third eye was activated. And let me tell you, so my significant other, he and I began our relationship in November of last year, right? So, because November of this year just made a year. I asked him like 2 months ago, and I'm gonna tell you what's even crazier. This activation of my third eye, I really didn't notice it until, like, if I'm being completely honest, like maybe 2 months ago. Because it wasn't intended for me to. And I look at my face every day. But it wasn't intended for me to see it. And I asked my significant other, I asked him, I said, babe, have you paid attention? I'm like, has this always been here? He like, yeah. He said, you didn't know that? He said, yeah, you've always had that on your third eye. But he's saying that because, again, our relationship started in November of 2024. So yes, it was there. And yes, it was activated. So when I asked him that 2 months ago and he said, yeah, I kind of just took it. I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, girl, how you ain't never noticed this on your third eye? And I just kind of left it alone, you know. But yesterday, my spiritual team placed it back on my spirit. They said, no, we need you to do something with this information. So yesterday I'm sitting and I actually had just got done doing a reading for myself. And something said, go look through your phone. Now, look, I am a person who deletes pictures out of my phone all the time, right? Something said, go through your phone to see if you had this on your third eye back when. And so I get to going through my phone because I'm like, I probably don't even have no pictures from back then. And when I tell you that I had the specific pictures of the dates that I just shared with you and the photos that I just shared with you, and I have them for a reason. And I pulled those pictures and I'm sitting there and I said, oh my God. You can see the activation in real time. You can see it. I'm going to do you one better. So I said, once my spiritual team is telling me, okay, now you know you got to share this story because you know this story is going to be helpful to someone. And I'm like, okay. And then, you know, my, you know how your nerves, I'm like, okay, well, how am I finna tell the story? I don't know how many. They like, look, just tell the story. Say whatever comes to your heart. Say whatever comes to your spirit. And then, of course, my mind gets to going and I'm like, child, you know, people going to be talking about you done photoshopped. And I'm like, okay, nope, I'm not going there. Because whoever this message is for. And whoever knows that this will help them, they know it will help them. So my spiritual team tells me, I'm looking through my phone for some other photos. And my spirit, and I run across a photo that I literally was just cleaning out some, you know how we got, you know, old paperwork that needs to be. And I literally was just cleaning out some old paperwork maybe a few weeks ago. And I ran across a Polaroid. Okay? A Polaroid. And when I ran across the Polaroid, I took a picture of that picture and sent it to my significant other. And so when I'm going through my phone last night, I see the picture that I sent him. And I said, I have an actual Polaroid. Now, this is like one of those little small little, you know, Polaroid cameras. But I took this photo. This was years ago. And this was at one of my uncles. I know this day was when he passed away. And I'm ashamed to say that I really can't remember the year. But I know I moved into my house in 2017. So this had to be 20. It had to be before that. Okay? So my point is, my spiritual team provided me, because not only just for you all, whoever is watching this, it's for me. For me also to know, no, baby, you're not tweaking. You're not crazy. You know what you know. And this is what we're showing you. Yes, you have been activating and activating and activating and remembering and remembering and remembering. Okay? So I said, I'll be. So I run downstairs, right? I run downstairs. I said, where's this picture? here is the picture. This is the picture. My third eye was not open, let alone activated, child. It wasn't open, completely shut. But I want to show you all this photo of me. And I hope you can see. But there is no, my third eye was not open. Okay? This was, like I said, this was before 2017. So my point is, and I really hope that I'm not too all over the place with this, because I didn't have an outline. I just wanted to come and share. This journey is real. Stay focused, even in those times of doubt, even in those times of overthinking, even in those times of fear. Stay the course. And I was sent here to show you that this journey is real and it's worth it. Stay the course. If I can end this video with any type of advice, communicate with your spiritual team, because they talk to us. We just don't know how to communicate with them, but they talk to us, and they always have. We just couldn't see it. My numbers with my spiritual team are 1111, 111, 11. Those are my numbers. And those became my numbers because I asked them way back in the beginning of my journey. I sat and I asked my spiritual team, I'm asking for a way to communicate with you. So whenever you want to send me a message, if you could just please somehow show me the synchronicities of 1111. 1111 is what I initially said, but it became 1111, 111, or 11. Those are my number synchronicities that my spiritual team communicates with me. And baby, when I tell you that they communicate with me, they communicate with me. As I sit here and say that, I just told you guys that the day that my life changed was what? It was October the 29th. You break that down. Now, when I asked my spiritual team to communicate with me through these numbers, I wasn't thinking about that. This was in the very beginning of my journey. I just needed a way to know that they were there. So if I have some advice, ask for a way. It could be a spirit animal, because birds, oh baby, birds speak to me. And I got some... I have a video on here where I showed where my spiritual team was talking to me one day through the messages of birds. But baby, I got another one. And if you're interested, let me know, because honey, it'll blow your mind like it blew mine. But birds, oh my God. Just the other day, December the 8th, they were in my backyard. I'm talking about, it had to be, when I tell you, and I have a video of this too, but I was such in shock that I didn't start recording to the end of it. When I tell you, and you know what, my babe was here too, so I don't know how much video he got, but I'm going to ask him. When I tell you that it had to be 100 birds in my backyard, and this was December the 8th. Let's break that down. What is December the 8th? 8 plus 2 plus 1 is what? It's 11. So that was a message. They were telling me something is coming. Communicate with your spiritual team. Ask them, please show me a sign. This can be our sign. This can be our number synchronicity. This could be our animal, whatever it is. And butterflies too. Mine's is my spirit animals are birds, butterflies, and my number synchronicities are 11, 11, 111, and 11. This journey is for real. This journey is for real. And it's so worth it. Like I mentioned a moment ago, even throughout all of the highs and the lows of this journey thus far, there's not one time that I thought about giving up. There's not one time that I thought about going back, because my spiritual team and the universe kept me fed enough spiritually to let me know that I was on the right path. But yes, we are a spirit having a human experience, so we still will have those emotions and those feelings and those that. I mean, we tried to undo years and years of something that we've done. We trying to undo that. So you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be gentle and compassionate with yourself. And I'm here to tell you that it's real. Speak with your spiritual team. They want you to. They need to talk to you. They need a way to communicate with you. So I truly hope that this video was not all over the place. I hope that the message is in there somewhere. I know it's going to reach every single person that it needs to reach, even if it's one. You got this. Do not veer off of this path, because this path is very narrow. We know that, and everyone cannot walk it. So if you are consistently being led on that path, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. I am sending you so much health, peace, love, abundance, wealth, light, joy, and everything that your heart, your soul, your mind, your body needs and desires. You got this. You got this. Until next time, peace and blessings.